This is Community Forum, a service of CAN TV. I'm your host, Juan Carlos Hernandez. Our guests today are from Friedman Place, a living community for the blind or visually impaired. Friedman Place offers a wide range of service that is always underscored by the dignity of the person. Our guests are here to share some of that. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start off by introducing you. Our first guest here is Christian Zapata, although you also go by Tony.
I do.
Tell us about yourself and how you're connected to Friedman Place.
Well, at Friedman Place, I'm the social work supervisor. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I primarily do three things at Friedman Place. I provide direct counseling services to residents that need it. I also provide case management services, and also I'm responsible for the one that screens and assesses potential new applicants that are interested in residing at Friedman Place.
Great. Great. Our second guest here in the middle today is Dr. Alexander Brown. We'll call you Alex or Alexander today?
Alexander.
Okay, Alexander. Tell us about yourself and obviously what you do at Friedman Place.
So I'm Alexander Brown. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been at Friedman Place for about a year, and I'm the interim executive director, and I do a little bit of everything from working with our volunteer board of directors to raising money, getting fundraising, to things within the building, supporting staff and residents any way I can.
Great, great. And our last but not least, our guest here is Eric Carvalho.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Tell us about your connection to Friedman Place.
Thank you. I lived at Friedman Place for over a year and a half, and I'm a resident, obviously. And I like to live there. I like to help other people out, do a lot of volunteering. I work in we have our own channel, which is a mostly audio TV channel. Anyone can flip it on, and a lot of information is put out to the residents, so activities or things that are coming up for them to do and enjoy.
That's great. So, well, we'll start the conversation with you, Eric. What is it that drew you to Friedman Place?
Well, I was kind of down on my luck, looking for a place to live, a safe place, and I also realized that I never really knew anyone else that had a vision impairment. So I thought moving to a place, a community, with other people, I can relate to them a lot better and further my own self-improvement, improve myself with all the opportunities they give us to go out and help us get things that we need, and that's what pretty much I needed a place like that. So.
Great, great. We'll definitely learn more about that as we move on. But let's talk about the history of Friedman Place a bit, how it started and where it's at, and some of the main services you provide. Alexander, please.
So we're an old organization. Sometime in the early 1930s, a group of adult blind men got together for self-help, for peer support, because there really wasn't anyone else giving them any assistance. And their first ideas were to get together and work to battle discrimination, particularly housing discrimination against people who were blind. And in 1935, they got a larger group together and became incorporated.
Oh, wow.
Over the following years, they acquired a small Chicago two-flat, like a real small rooming house, and people would rent out the rooms and eat in the dining room. As the years went on, they acquired a larger building on the northwest side. They had about 35 residents, all blind, all adults, and grew and grew, expanded, had a recreation center attached to the building, and was always led by a volunteer board of directors. Had a lot of volunteers helping with activities, recreation, education, and raising money, fundraising. And in the 90s, they really recognized the building was falling apart. It was not in great shape.
How big was that building, and how old was it?
So it was built in stages, starting in the 1950s. And things changed. So at the old building, each resident had their own bedroom, but people shared a bathroom.
Okay.
It's not ideal. There were stairs actually to get into the building, which for some of our residents was a real challenge to them. So the board really struggled, and finally, just about 10 years ago, acquired the current building we're in now. So we're larger. We have 81 residents today. Each resident lives in his or her own apartment. Each apartment has its own full bathroom and a kitchenette, microwave, refrigerator, and kitchen. The residents are from age 22 to right now, I think 91.
91.
The only thing folks have in common is they're blind or visually impaired. About half our residents are totally blind. The others have significant visual impairments. Some folks are well into their 80s and can be pretty frail, tend to stay in the buildings, stay in their apartments. Other folks are very active, come and go and do whatever they want. We have nurses that assist mostly with medication for those who need it.
Right.
We have housekeepers who assist with laundry, housekeeping, anything like that. We have certified nursing assistants who assist if people need that kind of care. We have social workers. We have activity staff. We really try to provide a wide range of services to meet people where they are. Some people want to stay in the building. Eric has an extremely important role because he runs our Channel 3, which is our in-house TV station. Communicating with 81 people who have visual impairments and are blind is challenging. So Channel 3 is a key conduit for communication to let people know what's going on.
Great, great. I definitely want to talk about those activities and how you run that channel. But let's talk to you, Christian. What is it that you offer as a social worker within Friedman Place, and or I'm sure you're part of a team. What do you do, and how do you work with the residents and the other staff to make it a solid place to live?
It's good to mention. Actually, like I said, it is a team. There is a team of social workers there, along with other professionals there. But within the social work department, like I said, we do three major things. Like for residents that need counseling services, and not necessarily like psychotherapy, but just like coaching. So people that maybe be struggling with something, or just need some support, or just a little direction in terms of just problem solving or resolving a conflict that they may have experienced. So we're available to them, anytime throughout the day. So it's myself, another social worker, and we usually contract at least 3 interns from the schools of social work here in Chicago. So they provide a tremendous support to us, because with only being about 2 people in the department, or 3 people in the department, an extra support goes a long way. So they really help in augmenting what we can do. And in terms of the case management services, it ranges anything from helping residents get access to programs such as transportation. There's so many residents who are blind or visually impaired and just don't know about the many services available in the city of Chicago. For example, using the paratransit program through PACE. So it's actually like a door-to-door taxi service that picks them up and drops them off.
And that's available to anybody with a visual impairment?
Not just visual impairment, but just individuals with disabilities. So you have to qualify, you have to be interviewed, and if you meet the criteria, then you're eligible for the paratransit service.
So you help folks with the paperwork
and
processing all of that?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, awesome.
And there's other transportation methods that are available. Luckily, the CTA, Chicago Transit Authority, provides for people with low income and disability to ride unlimited amounts on the CTA buses and trains for free. So it uses the Ventra card system, where they can use it as much as they need to go to and from their appointments, or just for leisure as well too. So we provide assistance in getting residents signed up, qualified, and registered to receive that benefit as well.
That's part of that coaching, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that the biggest theme that I feel that we try to implement is not to do for residents, but to work with them, to empower them, to be able to provide them access and options to things that, one, they may not have known was available to them, and then 2, just to be able to encourage them to that they can do this on their own as well too. Because I think sometimes there is that internal stigma, or the societal stigma, that, oh, what can you do because you're blind, or no, you can't do it. But there is so much that people can do, and there's just providing access to do it just a little differently, and helping build that confidence and helping build that sense of independence that they can do many things on their own.
It's awesome that you say that you're not doing for people, you're helping them do for themselves.
Absolutely.
And part of that, as I was doing research on the organization, is you have this plethora of activities and things going on at Friedman Place. Tell me about some of those, and I obviously we'll look at some pictures in a bit, but what are the big activities that you participate or well, invite people to participate in, Alexander or Christian?
So, as often as we can, we really try to be to serve the residents in the best sense possible, to follow them. So residents should make the decisions about what we do and how we do it. We can certainly help guide, help make the decisions, but this is their world, their home. So we actually have an activity committee consisting of residents and a couple of staff. They have a budget. They have complete control over how that money is spent.
That's awesome.
And they have to make those tough decisions. The members of the activity committee, are in a difficult spot because they're representing the whole building. So
That sounds like a tough job.
you can't
But
get
fun.
81 people to agree on anything. So in the summer, Six Flags is a big trip.
Oh, but the baseball game this year on the Skybox.
Yeah. Skybox on shift.
Skybox on shift, that was a big,
Yeah.
I've lived at Freedom Place in a year and a half, and I've probably done more things in the last year and a half than I have in probably 10 years.
Wow.
Going to a baseball game, we have people that donate their tickets every couple of weeks if they're not going. There's a lot of little things. My favorite thing is the activities. If you want to go somewhere, you let them know, and they can pay up to $25 for each ticket of what do you want. You want to go to the movies? You just worry about your own transportation, and you can have a lot of fun. It's really interesting.
So
Wow.
in addition to the activities we organize, Eric is referring to what we call the independent outings.
Okay.
So there's money available. If needed, social workers can assist in arranging for transportation, and people go to all sorts of things, from out to dinner to concerts. In the building, music is huge. We have amazing musicians. So a lot of our activities are around music. But the activity committee makes those decisions about what we're going to do, and some people are very, very happy, and some people aren't.
Well, that happens with any group of
Yeah.
people,
It's a
right?
community.
Yeah, it's a community, and part of a healthy community is having some discussion and agreements and disagreements about what happens. So, but what are you mentioned? You mentioned music. Tell me about how that's a big part of a Friedman Place.
We have pianos all over the building. We have residents who are amazing musicians, pianists, rock guitar, harpists, accordion, and sometimes these are planned activities, and sometimes they're more spontaneous, where, so for example, I'll be walking around the building, and I'll walk by one of the activity rooms, and there'll be 4 or 5 residents in there just jamming, just rocking out. It's
Wow.
a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Wow, that certainly sounds like it. I did want to get back to the healthy discussions around activities. Despite the disagreements that might happen, what are some of the bigger activities that that this group has helped organize for the residents?
So there's much more in the summertime. So sporting events is very popular, music events. We go to a lot of concerts, outdoor concerts. In the colder weather, it's harder, but every week we have a trip to a physical fitness center, and anyone can go to that. We have shopping trips twice a week. We have a number of holiday parties.
Bowling once a month.
Bowling.
Movies, we go to the movies.
Awesome.
There's many that you can't get bored. There's no reason to get bored. If you just really don't like to do any of that, then you got to find something else. But
Yeah.
there's always something that's fun to do.
Well,
I brought my family in for Thanksgiving, and,
Okay.
and we had lunch there, and there were a lot of volunteers there as well. It was just a very festive atmosphere.
that's certainly something I want to talk about. The volunteers. But before we do that, let's. You brought in some pictures that I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look at that right now and take us through them, please.
So this is the very front of the building. This is Friedman Place. We still call it the new building.
Okay.
We'll be there 10 years
10
this
years.
January.
So that was built from the foundation.
No, this was a vacant building. It had been vacant for a number of years, and the agency purchased it, totally renovated it. Up on the right, you can see there's It's on the 5th floor, an outside patio.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people like to spend time in the summer. This is an exercise activity. Like I said, we have residents from age 22 to 90, so we have different types of physical fitness.
Okay.
This is a craft class. They made snowmen, snow people.
Snow people.
These are our residents.
That's something I would like to get involved in.
So this is on our outside porch. I'm not sure if it's upstairs or downstairs.
Okay.
And this is a resident with a friend.
With a friend. Okay.
So we have an exercise room, and here's a resident with a CNA, a certified nursing assistant,
Okay.
helping him on the treadmill.
How? Okay. Okay.
So one of the remarkable things is we have a weaving program. So this
Wow.
is our weaving studio, and we have a resident working on a beautiful piece of weaving. This is one of our residents with a volunteer, and this resident is an amazing harpist.
Wow. Wow. Must be just amazing to hear people
Yeah.
jam out like
Yeah.
here.
So this is the regular weekly music hour with a volunteer. You can see an electric guitar, accordion, and I don't know what that's called in the front. This is one of our main hallways. You see, again, resident weavings on one
Okay.
side.
Okay. On the windows there.
This was I think this was from our open house. We opened up our doors to the broader neighborhood, the community, a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And we were displaying our weaving. This is the very front of the building. This is one of our residents with his dog.
Wow.
Right now we only have one guide dog in the building. At times we've had many more.
Wow.
One staff guide dog.
And one staff guide dog.
One staff guy.
Yes.
Sounds like it is a very vibrant place, and we saw a resident there with a friend, but you also mentioned volunteers and people from the community coming into Friedman Place. How does that work? Is there an interview process or?
So we rely on all kinds of support. We're in the middle of our annual appeal right now, and please, people, take a look at our website and our Facebook page. We're always looking for donations. We're also looking for people to be involved in our community more directly. So some volunteers come in weekly and will run an exercise class, run a music program, read the newspaper, talk about current events. We do interview each volunteer. There's a screening process, there's an orientation, and of course background checks that people go through.
Just to ensure that everybody's being taken care of.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, I do want to get back to the activities and Eric, specifically how you run this channel. And you said, and also tell us how is it that you said you're never bored at Friedman Place?
Well, you shouldn't be bored. I mean, I said they have so many opportunities, and if you have your own idea, like I said, they'll help you get there. They'll plan it for you. They'll call it in. You know, if you want a reservation somewhere, or you wanted the tickets to a concert, it's very easily to say, hey, I need help with this. Could you look it up for me? Things like that. Channel 3 is really just, like I said, it's more of an audio thing. I do a lot of voice, just reading off the menus, reading off the activity list. Maybe a resident or another person that works there, I should say, would want to come in and tell what they got going on, or they want a nurse wants to tell you something new, like, or maybe come get your flu shot, or something very important, or something very fun, like, hey, there's this new, who wants to sign up for this certain musical this week? We're taking names for this week, and just it's a little slideshow. You put maybe a picture on there, but for people that I have low vision, can see a little bit. But primarily it's about audio and informing residents about anything and everything that's going on in Friedman.
You also said that if you want to do something, the folks at Friedman Place, residents and staff, will help you put it together.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about a specific example.
I think just a friend of mine wanted to go to a certain concert, and either a receptionist or basically activities you would go to. And they have their computers in there, and they said they'll pay up to a certain amount. So Friedman will use their card or whatever, and then we'll pay for it. And the tickets will be waiting for you at the venue when you go. And it was just so easy, and they were so happy because it was so easy for them. Usually it was like, they would procrastinate and try to look it up themselves and just give up. Otherwise, now you have somebody to help you and make sure you found the right address, found the right place to go.
So what I'm hearing from you, and you've kind of alluded to it, is that being at Friedman Place has been a transformative experience for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, just having all these opportunities that I never knew were there, and all these wonderful people to help you, and they're so kind to you, and just the littlest thing to the biggest thing, they will, you know, if they can't help you, they'll find somebody that will.
Well,
So.
sweet. It does bring me to another question for you. What's been most impactful about for you, Christian, about your work at Friedman Place?
That's actually a great question because I just recently started Friedman Place in March, so I'm relatively new. I'm the new kid on the block there.
New kid on the block.
And so prior to me coming to Friedman Place for the past 12 years, I was a clinical director for an outpatient counseling center. And so I did a lot of like therapeutic work with mostly low-income African-American and Latino families. And so, you know, I always felt towards kind of the end of my tenure there, I was feeling like something was missing, and I needed just an extra reason or purpose in what I was doing professionally. And you know, I really wasn't looking for a job at the time, and I just happened to see the posting on NPO, and I was like, wow, I never even heard of Friedman Place prior to February or January of this year. And to me, it was, things just melted together in just such a great opportunity because I also have a visual disability. I have something called retinitis pigmentosa. And so basically...
What is that? Just for our viewers to know. And for me, I don't know what it is.
Well, it's a visual condition that basically, it's the degenerative loss of central vision. So if you can imagine a donut, I can't see the center of the donut. I can only see the periphery. And over time, you know, I used to have 20/20 vision, but over the course of your life, it eventually starts degenerating, and in some cases, it could lead to total blindness. And so it's something that's always been, you know, pervasive in my life, and it's impacted me, and it's been a huge motivating factor in the choice of work that I've done and working with the social services and the nonprofits. And when this opportunity at Friedman Place came about, it just was like a match made in heaven. It just really was able to do the clinical work that I enjoy, also the administrative responsibilities that I do, but then work with a population that I so identify with, and I so can empathize with. And so I really work towards not, again, that sense of not doing for, but working to understand people's individual experiences, because like Alexander said, the only thing in common is that people have some visual disability, but people's life trajectories are so different. What brought them to Friedman Place, what keeps them at Friedman Place, and helping to identify and understand what obstacles they have experienced in keeping or preventing them from really you know, actualizing who they want to be. And so being a conduit to that, to me, has just been an amazing experience so far.
Certainly sounds like it.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's great. We're getting close to the end of the show, Alexander, and you as the head of the organization, tell us what your vision is going forward for Friedman Place, and what you hope to achieve, and together with the residents and the community and the volunteers.
It's a good question. So we've been in this building for 10 years, and in the last year we've gone through a pretty significant reorganization and are really focused very much on bringing in professionals like Tony here and others, and really creating opportunities for residents to run as much of the organization as possible. The activity committee is a small example of that. And we really want to focus on following their lead. We are asking some big questions. So things are going well, the building is full, it's a tremendous sense of community, but what next? So we're starting to have conversations. You know, should we expand? Should we develop new programs, new opportunities for the residents? We're 80 years old this April.
Wow.
What does that mean? What should the next 80 years look like? We have a lot of different options, we're really not sure. So when they created the old building in the 50s, it was fine at that time for those kind of folks who were living there. What needs and interests will our residents have in the future? We're making a tremendous push in the area of technology. So technology is a great way to help engage, help our residents engage with the entire world. And the adaptive devices that are available are just coming out so quickly. So we have something called the David Herman Learning Center, and we're raising money and purchasing equipment for that. But it's sort of a wide open field. I gotta say, what I like about Friedman Place
Okay.
is I have the best job in the world. So I
Sounds like it.
I do things that, you know, are tedious and boring. We're not for profit, but this morning I was processing to submit our tax returns. They have to be out and everything has to be checked. That's fine. I get to work with donors to help them shape what they want their money to do with us. I get to spend time with amazing people, residents who are older adults who have incredible stories, and I get to spend time with them. I can walk out of my office and I can have lunch with people like Eric, and it's just a great opportunity. We have a number of couples in the building. Several people have been married in our dining room. We have
They met at Friedman Place?
we have a couple right now
Wow.
who met and courted, and they will be married in our dining room on February 7th, I
February
believe.
7th.
Right, close
I-
to Valentine's
I
Day.
Absolutely.
Came down in the elevator with him today, and this is not a secret. He bought the engagement ring yesterday.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's a great experience to be able to be part of people's lives in that way.
Wow, it certainly sounds like it. Wow, and thanks for sharing that with us today. Thank you for coming out, and I wish you the best in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having us.
And to you, our audience, thank you for joining us. Community Forum is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Community Forum for local issues and concerns every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.